I'm sure this lecture will be an enlightening and enriching experience for all of us. Please join me in welcoming Shri Saikanth Varma. First of all, I'd like to begin by thanking Himanshu for inviting me over. It feels so good to be back in Insti after so many years, and I'm so glad to interact with all of you today. So I have made a small PPT. If not now, we'll try and send it in the group. Is it back? Yeah, just in time. Thank you so much. So the next 30 to 45 minutes, what I will do is I'll just briefly take about 15-20 minutes. I'll take you through my journey, what have been my experiences of being an IAS officer. So for me, the journey of getting into the IAS, by the way, when I was in Insti, I was never interested in civil services. I always wanted to, be a good software engineer. And then one of my batchmates, he happened to take me to a guest lecture by Mr. Shri Krishna IAS. He was an EML. And I happened to attend that lecture, and that lecture transformed my life. So I hope that this interaction will be like that for some of you. So what I will help you guys do right now is, I'll just run through this brief PPT for about 10-15 minutes, wherein I'll be sharing my experiences, what I could do, what IAS can offer as a career, and then after that I'll open the session for any Q&A. So this is a little brief introduction about myself. Already I think most of these things have been told. So next slide please. So infrastructure is something that was very, very close to my heart. So I'll take you through some of the projects that I've done. As you can see, most of them will be infrastructure centric. It's something that I was very passionate about, that I'm still very passionate about. And I'll be sharing some of my experiences which are over and above the normal duties that are expected of an IAS officer. So this first project I'd like to talk about is one housing project which I have taken up in my first posting, that is as a sub-collector. I happened to visit one of the slums in the outskirts of Rajahmundry city where I was posted, and I was really disturbed by the way these people were living. There are 128 families, no paka houses, no roads, no drains, and they were living amongst the animals like dogs and pigs. So that really moved me. So I've decided that I would build a proper paka housing colony for all of them. However, what happened was, the government subsidy for construction of one house was only 2.5 lakh. That was grossly inadequate to complete a normal paka house. So what I did is, I've called in a group of engineers, and then through them we designed a structure of a house wherein we brought in the concept of shared walls, that is 4 houses are constructed together, still giving each and every house good ventilation. So we designed these houses and we were able to optimize the cost to 3.5 lakhs per unit. So I still had to cover up that 1 lakh for each and every house. What I had done was that I started raising donations. Donations of 1 lakh for every house. And in no time I was able to raise a sum of good 1.28 crores. And we were able to construct all the houses, paka houses, including power connection, water supply, drainage and CC roads were on the cards. So towards the right you can see the colony that is coming up. Next slide. So education is again something that is very, very close to my heart. So in my previous posting, I had worked in a tribal area. And I found it extremely difficult, the aspiration levels of the students there are extremely very, very low. If you were to walk into a class and ask a bunch of students what you want to be when you grow up, 90% of them would say, I want to be a teacher, because that's the most respectable position, a job that they had ever known. The balance 5 to 10% would say they want any government job, even if it means becoming an attendant. Yes, that is what they want. So I was very disturbed with the, very poor aspiration levels, and this is largely because of the very limited exposure that these children had. So in order to address this, I started a program called Inspire. Okay, basically the idea is you group all the students who shared similar interests. Like for example, those children who wanted to, become a doctor. So you group them into, 40, and you put them in a bus and send them to a corporate hospital to spend one entire day in the corporate hospital. It's a very well-structured program wherein, a person of quite a senior level would receive these students, would give them a proper exposure as to what it means to be a doctor. Starting from, their daily lifestyle, their daily routine, and including the money that they would make. This is just an attempt to make them aware of what exactly is happening out there, the world which these children are not exposed to. And you can actually see, some of the photographs of these students being sent to some of the corporate hospitals. I've sent some of them to Indian Navy, some of them to Air Force in Hyderabad, steel plant in Visakhapatnam, a submarine visit in Vizag, and we even sent them to some of the mega irrigation projects like Polavaram. So the top left photo that you see there is a bunch of students who went to Sriharikota, who happened to witness the live rocket launch. So this is the second student batch in the entire country to witness a live rocket launch. Normally nobody is allowed to witness a live rocket launch. So we made some attempts. We had gotten in touch with the district administration there, and they were kind enough to give us access to these children to witness the live rocket launch. So I have to share a very interesting story here. When I was working in this region, Sitampeta, which happens to be in Srikakulam district, I hope all of you know who is the CEO of Microsoft, right? Who is it? Satya Nadella. Now, how many of you know who's Satya Nadella's father? His name? Yeah, you're right. His father was an IAS officer. His name was Yugandhar. He's an extremely great bureaucrat, and I think he has done tremendous contribution to this country. Some of the legislations that you hear today, like child labor abolition or bonded labor abolition, they were all formulated and brought in by this great man. So Shri B.N. Yugandhar, he worked as a district collector in Srikakulam. And Satya Nadella himself had studied in one of the schools there for a couple of years while his dad was working there as district collector. So I shot out a mail to Satya Nadella himself saying that we are so and so, we are trying to reach out for your help to help these children. And your father is quite a revered figure here, and people still remember his great work, and we expect you to continue the legacy. And guess what he replied back? He replied back and he put me in touch with Microsoft India head, Mr. Rajiv Kapoor, and he was kind enough to accept 40 children every month to Microsoft Hyderabad campus. So basically this Inspire program for children between 8th to 12th, that's when people, the children would actually form what they want to be, their ambitions, aspirations and everything. So we try to give them that sort of an exposure. And you will get to see the results in the next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah, before I go there, in order to promote leadership and competitiveness amongst the tribal students, I started 3 big events. One is a sports fest, one is a cultural fest, and the other is a science fair. What did I name my cultural fest and science whereas Shastra and Zara. I hope they are still the names, still the same today. Are they? Yeah. They are, right? So you can see the posters and all. So these festivals are still continued even today in the tribal areas of Srikakulam district. Next slide, please. This is another very important initiative which is very, very close to my heart. So, having been inspired by this movie called Super 30, I started this program called Super 60, wherein I took through a entrance exam. I have selected top 60 students of tribal children who were studying in government schools. So I didn't take any private students who were studying in private schools. So top 60 students of plus 1 and top 60 students of plus 2, and I put them in one campus. I have ramped up the infrastructure. I have given them the best of the facilities, best of the computers, and best of the materials. I have handpicked the faculty myself. I sat through some of the guest lectures myself, and I have selected the best of the faculties from private colleges. And we gave them the best, and we gave them the training. And in a matter of 6 to 8 months, the first batch, 5 of the students got into the IITs and 11 students got into the NITs. You know, before this program, so the farthest engineering college that a tribal student went to from this Srikakulam district was in Srikakulam district. That was the farthest, the best engineering college that they ever got to be. And I was told that one of these students is studying in this campus today. The first, one of the 5 students who got into the IITs is studying in IIT MADRAS. And in the next year also, it gave some very good results. And I was told 33, I have been transferred out after that. So 33 students made it to both IITs and NITs. So all these students who got selected, they were all part of the Inspire program, and all of them had visited Microsoft IDC campus. You know, when I started the Super 60 program, it didn't start with coaching. It started with the idea of selling the dream to them. They didn't know what IIT was. So it started with selling the dream of getting into IITs. So this is one of the programs which is very, very close to my heart. Next slide, please. Yeah, so government of Andhra Pradesh has taken up a very novel scheme called Nadu Nedu, which translates into then now, wherein the government started ramping up the infrastructure of all educational institutions. So as part of first phase of Nadu Nedu, we had taken up 1,080 schools in YSR district. That is where I am posted today. And we have streamlined and we have standardized certain elements, and we transformed all 1,080 schools in the same. Some of these are the photographs that I am showing you here. These are all government schools. You can come visit our district and you can still find that the schools are being maintained like this. Next slide, please. These are all some of the photographs, and that's a little bit of media coverage about our district. Our district, YSR district, stood first in terms of the quality of the works that we have delivered, and we also happens to be the first district to complete all renovations, all upgradations of 1,080 schools, first in the state. Next slide, please. Yeah, health is again a very, very important setup. Especially in the tribal areas, health becomes extremely crucial because you have very, very little connectivity, both physical connectivity as well as telecom connectivity. So there was a huge gap. And when somebody has a medical emergency, it takes almost 8 hours to 12 hours for an ambulance to reach that particular location. Because of various reasons. One, first of all, getting an SOS that there has been an emergency itself is difficult with And number two, because of the terrain, for the ambulance to start from the Mandal headquarters and to reach all the way till the location where the emergency is needed, where the emergency has happened, it used to take 8 to 10 hours. And if the emergency happens in the night, then you have no other choice but to wait for more than 12 hours. Because you cannot travel in the night and you have to start in the morning, and by the time you reach there, the damage would have already happened. So in order to tackle this problem, next slide please. So in order to tackle this problem, what I have done is, so on a GIS, I have put the layer of all roads that are connected, and it's basically an OR problem. Where all do you need to position your ambulances? So much so that whenever there is an SOS, you should be able to reach in a matter of less than 30 minutes. I hope you guys can appreciate what I'm trying to say here. So it came out to be 49 locations covering the entire tribal area. Theoretically, if I were to position my ambulances at all these 49 locations, I will be able to reach out any place in the tribal area in less than 30 minutes. And guess what? With the help of one control room, you can see the graph over there. What used to be an average ambulance response time of 8 to 9 hours had been brought down to less than 1 hour. Any medical emergency, the ambulance will be there in less than 1 hour. It can be, so there were different gradings of ambulances. There's 104, 108, and then there are bike ambulances. So we had deployed good number of bike ambulances so that they can travel in the most difficult of the terrains. And these 49 locations are locations where there is good network connectivity as well. So the average response time of the ambulance was brought down to less than 1 hour. Next slide please. So what was also a very difficult problem in the tribal areas was maternal mortality. What blew my mind in the initial days of my posting is people were dying. Pregnant women would die just like that. All because somehow these tribal women, they don't keep track of time. They don't keep track of dates. So if you ask somebody, what was your birthday? They wouldn't know. At least now, thanks to Aadhaar, there is some recorded evidence of their birthdays. Now, for a pregnant lady, it's very important that you know her expected date of delivery, EDD. Because if you don't know when the pregnant lady would go into labor and when she would deliver the baby. And since these women, they were not keeping track of what is called the last menstrual period, which is very, very critical in determining the expected date of delivery. Most of the times what used to happen is they would be sitting at home and then they start going into labor. Because they don't know what their expected date of delivery is. And with the difficult terrain and with the limited medical facilities in the tribal areas, most of these pregnant women would deliver en route without the help of any medical practitioner. Because of poor nutrition levels, their hemoglobin levels used to be very low, and little bit of bleeding would lead to maternal death. So all of this was happening because they were not expected dates of. So I started a program called Maternal, where